highest state of readiness. And trust me, we ready.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest is heading into his first 212 Olympia. He was an amazing classic physique Olympia competitor. 3 years in a row he took third place. Just won the Tampa Pro, his first outing as a 212. He is George the Bull Peterson III. How are you, George?
Hey, I'm doing great, Ron. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. So I want to talk about this Rebound. You've been putting on some crazy good size since you won the Tampa Pro. I almost said New York Pro because both shows were in Tampa. But it was the Tampa Pro. So yeah, you had people saying, "Hey, George, yeah, you should just keep doing all these 212 shows up to Olympia and win them all." And then you would have screwed yourself over so bad if you did that. So tell me about the Rebound, because Justin was really, really satisfied with the gains that you made since you won Tampa Pro. So you weighed in at like 210 for that show?
Yeah, about 211.
211?
Yeah.
And what's your weight? What did your weight get up to? Is it the high point now, or did you already have the high and you're coming down again?
Well, I mean, the highest that I've been, was 250. Like, so before we started prep for the Tampa Pro, I was 250 pounds. That's the highest that I got up to. And then we dieted down to, of course, 211 to make the show weight. Right after the show, pretty much reverse dieted myself, and I got up to 240. And the best 240 that I ever looked. Like, still lean and tight. Like the one thing I can say is about the two when I was 250 when the prep started, it wasn't really like it wasn't like a pretty 250, you know what I mean? It was, kind of like it was my first time really getting up that heavy. But this 240 that I got to, like post the show was the best 240 pounds I've ever been. Yeah,
I know, because Justin's constantly posted pictures, videos. He's let us see how you're looking every step of the way. And, I don't know how the glutes and hams are looking, but everything up here looked pretty damn tight and lean still. Man. Yeah, good luck getting it. I'm sure you'll get to 212. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
I'll fill you in. The glutes and hams are looking damn good.
Really? At 240 they were?
Huh?
At 240?
At 240 they were looking very good. Yes, absolutely. Well, ask Justin. He'll tell you.
You know what you're going to hear now? Everyone's going to say, well, just go open. Forget this 212 crap. Just leapfrog over that. Okay, I have a bunch of questions for you, George. They're mostly Olympia related because we're getting all hyped up for the Olympia, even though it's still almost 3 months away. But man, we need to get psyched. This is a big show, and I want everyone to be excited. So I want to know, what was the first Olympia you attended, and what memories stand out the most about that Olympia for you?
All right. Well, interestingly enough, the first Olympia that I ever attended was the Olympia that I first competed in. Was the 2017 Mr. Olympia. I mean, there's a lot of memories about that Olympia, but I mean, I gotta just say, like, the biggest memory of that Olympia was after, struggling to actually qualify, doing show after show, and to place top 3 was, I just was on cloud 9 for a long, long time after that, because I mean, like, placing third at that time felt like placing first for me, because who would have ever thought that? I mean, like, it's just a year before that, I had no desire to want to compete again, and then now, boom, look, I'm on the Olympia stage just like that, so it was definitely a very, very fond memory.
Yeah, Justin, because Justin's been writing a whole series, George Peterson Road to Olympia, for the Muscular Development print magazine. And in the first part 1, he talked about that was you just want to come back and do one show, one NPC show, and then you were going to be right off into the sunset. Just because you wanted to do one more show. And, a year later, you were on the Olympia stage getting third in the world. That's insane. That's crazy. Next Olympia related question. What do you feel you will bring to the 212 Olympia stage that is unique, or that other contenders are going to have a hard time competing with? What aspects of your physique do you think you have an edge over some of these other guys for sure?
I believe I'm going to bring a certain aesthetic look to the Olympia stage with a dense amount of muscle that can hang with anybody. I mean, usually it's like you would think it's one or the other, right? You got an aesthetic guy, but maybe he's not as dense as like, less, maybe a less aesthetic guy, but just, very, very muscular. But I'm intending on bringing everything together, aesthetics with muscle, crazy, crazy gnarly conditioning. It's just going to be the best George Peterson that you ever seen. I mean, and I know I keep saying that before every show, but that's because I mean it before every show.
Yeah, because I mean, Tampa Pro was, I don't want to say a dry run, but I mean that was your first time as a 212, and it was a different body you were working with, you and Justin, basically, than you'd ever worked with before. Keeping the size and everything, and I think you learned a couple things that you're going to apply toward the Olympia to bring something that's just much, much far superior to what we saw in Tampa, personally. Next question. You mentioned in a couple interviews that you felt your years in classic physique groomed you for the 212, and I couldn't ever get like a full explanation as to why that is. So explain to me how you feel that classic groomed you for 212.
Well, because when I came back into the sport in 2016, and I decided to go into classic physique, at that time, I looked nothing the way I look now. I mean, I was, my muscle size had shrunk tremendously, so I feel like the starting off in classic and those years in classic allowed me the time to develop my physique again, to get it back, for that muscle memory to come back from when I did used to compete in bodybuilding back in 2012, 2013, but now much more refined, doing it better this time. It was like a rebuild. I basically rebuilt. Classic physique allowed me to rebuild and reinvent my physique, and we switched to 212 just at the right time, because if I would have gone right into 212, 2017, 2018, I wouldn't have been ready to do anything at that time. But right after 2019 Olympia, when I pretty much tremendously peaked out for the classic physique, I mean, I couldn't have been any better at that weight. So that was the time to switch. So that's what I mean when I say that the classic physique groomed me for the 212. It prepared me, gave me the stage experience that I needed to, now be able to be a contender for a bigger title than the classic physique title, which is the 212 title.
Yeah. It's funny. I was looking up old pictures. I was trying to find an arm routine for another article that we talked about earlier, and I was looking at pictures from when you were a heavyweight bodybuilder before you retired the first time. And man, you would never guess that guy would look like this today. Never. If I saw that guy and people say, "What do you think of his potential?" I'd be like, nah. I don't think this guy could even turn pro ever. No way. He's not that good.
But you say that, Ron. But see, and that's why I decided to go classic. Or that's why I mentioned going classic when I first linked up with Justin, because I agree with you. If I look at those pictures, I would say nah too. But I felt like if that guy would have came down in weight, instead of trying to be a heavyweight bodybuilder so fast, stay down as a light heavyweight, and just it'll accentuate my body's natural shape and aesthetics. So that was the reason why I felt like classic physique would be a good way to start, because I knew I had to come down in weight, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it brought out your shape and everything so much better. Because what were you competing as a heavyweight, around 215, 220?
Yeah, about 215 on stage. Yeah.
So if you look at those pictures and you look at you from your classic Olympia years where you were 192, you look so much bigger at 192 than you did at 215, 220. Absolutely. I mean, just more refined, the shape, everything was so much better. So yeah, absolutely. Classic made you boom. Look at you now, dude. Talking about the Olympia in general, not just your division, are there any competitors who you're really looking forward to see compete this year?
Oh, well, 100% Phil Heath.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Phil Heath back on stage, because I definitely feel like he can get that title back. I feel like he can get it. I'm curious to see Flex Lewis up there in the open.
Yep. Yeah.
And one matchup that I know Giles talks about a lot, and I agree with him, that I'm very curious to see is Flex Lewis, William Bonac, and Hadi Chupin, those three kind of staying there, because he's right, those three in the open are three former 212 guys, right. And I like to see that comparison. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean that's probably would have been the same. I think I would have given the same exact answers if anybody asked me. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Hottie, man, I hope he gets over here. Oof. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope everyone gets over here. We're already here, so we don't have to worry.
Right.
Here's one I don't think I've ever asked you. Of all the Olympia champions, any division, any era, who did you like the most? Who inspired you the most out of everybody?
All right. Well, if we're talking out of all the Olympia champions,
Yeah, Olympia champs can be 1965 to 2019.
yeah. I would have to say Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman, 100%. I mean, just I remember when I first, started, looking up videos of Ronnie Coleman and seeing him in 1998 when he first won the title. I mean, I was like, wow, look at this guy. And then, like, 'cause I first saw that YouTube video, like where he won the Olympia, and then I started, seeing all his, training videos, and so I knew I would never train. I mean, I would never lift as much weight as he has, but it was still extremely motivating to see that. You know what I mean? It just hypes you up. So out of all the Olympia champions, Ronnie Coleman would be the most, motivating to me.
Did you used to watch his video over and over again like a lot of people?
Yes, of
Well, he had a
course.
lot of videos, but The Unbelievable, that's the video that we all reference all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So were you not following bodybuilding in 90? He won it in 98 for the first time because it was in New York City. You could have gone.
I could have, but I was far like I wasn't following bodybuilding in the '90s. And at that time I was against being too muscular because that was when I was heavy into my martial arts, and I was all about staying small and lean because I wanted to stay fast, with my techniques, with my punches and my kicks. Bruce Lee was my inspiration, which I've said many times. I mean, ironic as it is, it was because of Bruce Lee. That's how I actually got into bodybuilding because I read that he started lifting weights to get stronger with his techniques. So that led to me lifting weights, which led to me going into bodybuilding. So that's kind of ironic. But yeah, I wasn't into it back in the '90s. But you know what? I mean, if I could turn back, if there's one thing I could do different, I probably would do that. Like I would probably tell myself to start following bodybuilding in the '90s. So I would have loved to have seen those guys at that time. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have saw it.
That was a hell of a show. I think it was like a 1 point win over Flex Wheeler that year.
Yeah.
It was very close. Did you see the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? With the
is that with that's not with Jet Li, right?
no, it was Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, but there was a sequence with Bruce Lee in it where Brad Pitt fought Bruce Lee, Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah,
And a lot of people got upset about that because they made Bruce out to be like a big jerk in that movie, which
really?
I don't think he was.
Is that the Quentin Tarantino movie?
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't see it, but I heard that he received a backlash about the way he portrayed Bruce Lee. I didn't see it. I gotta check it out. I mean, hopefully I won't get upset watching it because I love Bruce Lee. So hopefully but I'll see. I'll check it out.
Yeah, his wife and his daughter's name is Shannon. I think they were outraged, and I kind of would be too. But all right, enough Bruce Lee. I was a big. I saw Enter the Dragon probably 50 times, man. Had that poster on my wall like this, where he had the slashes.
Yeah. Never get
old. That was the final fight with Han, the guy with the shit on his hands. Here we go. Do you feel you have a much better chance at winning the 212 Olympia title than you ever would have Classic Physique Olympia title?
Now, yes, absolutely, 100%. I think because I think now it's when Classic Physique first came out. I mean, of course, like any new division, you need time to figure it out to see what direction you want to go. You had all these different looking type of physiques. They all make the weight that they have to make. So where do you want to go with this? You know what I mean? And I think now that I guess they have an idea of where they want to go with it, and it's not me. Like, so I think I definitely 100% have way more chance winning into 212 Olympia than I did in Classic because 212 is just bodybuilding. Yeah. I mean, and that's what I am, a bodybuilder. I mean, I always considered myself a bodybuilder even when I was competing in Classic Physique, but I felt like even a bodybuilder can still be considered classic because I mean, look, when we talk about the competitors who we say you know, we are the images of class physique. We talk about Arnold, we talk about Frank Zane, we talk about Lee Labrada. I mean, we talk about Flex Wheeler, I talk about Sean Ray. I say all those guys can be put under the class physique umbrella, right? But what do they all have in common? I mean, they're all bodybuilders. So I didn't. That's why I never believed it should be a problem if I look like a bodybuilder, just as long as I have good aesthetics. You know what I mean? So, but I understand that you want to be able to tell the difference between this division and that division. So if I win the class physique title, but at the same time I look like I could win 212, then what's the difference? So I completely understand it. You know what I mean?
Although I do think figure and women's physique are becoming the same division. But anyway, I didn't say that, did I? But yeah, like last year, people were saying they would have liked to have seen you on the 212 stage last year with Kamal and Lunsford and Clarita. They thought you would have been in that mix very, very well.
Yeah.
I think you would have too. Final Olympia-based question. You've been third place at the Olympia 3 times already. So you've been up there 3 times where it was just those 3 names to be called, and unfortunately, you were not the last one standing. What would it mean to you to be the last man standing this year, to be called the 212 Olympia champion? How would that feel?
I mean, it would be an unbelievable feeling, and the one thing that would, I mean, regardless of whatever happens, whether I win or whether I lose, the one thing that's gonna go into my mind and into my heart is God's plan. This is God's plan for me. So I walk away with that title. This was God's plan for me. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be extremely grateful. Um, you know, and I'm going to be appreciative to everyone who supported me through everything. You know what I mean? But it's going to be, I'll just be on top of the world, being the last guy standing, knowing that all the work paid off with which it will. Because I don't want anybody to get me wrong, like to think that, oh, if you're not the last one standing, that means that your work didn't pay off. That's not true. Your work, if you go on that stage and you look the way you intended to look, your work paid off. But it would just be the ultimate tops, if you end up being the last man standing. And I do intend to be the last man standing and be crowned the 2020 212 Mr. Olympia champion.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But like you said, second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place. This is the entire world. This means, if you're like fifth in the Olympia, you're the 5th best built man in a world of 8 billion people. Come on now. That's pretty damn great. Last thing I want to talk about is the merchandise. You've been coming out with hats, shirts, a cool mask. Where can people get a hold of this stuff?
All right. Well, I have a job form link, and it's on my Instagram page. It's in the bio, and then my Instagram page, which is at George P_the Bull. That's DABULL. There's a button that says the Bull merch. So if you click on that, it'll bring you to the page where you can purchase. I have a white T-shirt and a red T-shirt. It has the Bull logo, very cool logo. And I also have face masks. Yeah. I didn't actually come out with these hats for sale yet. Oh. This kind of like a prototype. Yeah. So I just wanted to see how it looked. But since I started wearing it, and people see me wearing it, they've actually been asking me for it.
Of course.
So I started to come out with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what you should come out with? I know you don't need unsolicited suggestions, but like a cool tank top with like that T-back, so people can see, pretend they have lats like you, like popping out.
Yeah.
I got to ask, what's the best-selling item right now?
The best-selling item actually right now is the Red Bulls T-shirt. A lot of people have purchased that one. More so than the white one. That's been the bestseller. I just sold out of one of my face mask designs. I had 2 designs available. I had one with two of my bull logos, like on each side of the mask, and I had one that's actually said the bull on this side, and one with the bull head on this side. That one sold out. So that one was very, very popular. So I plan on restocking more and coming out with new ideas. You know what I mean? And I actually, this is the part that I'm enjoying quite a bit. It's almost like like you start off just training, competing. You're just an athlete, but then you start thinking like entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? And coming out with like your own business ideas and everything like that. And I enjoy that aspect of it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who do stuff like that I admire greatly.
Yeah. And I like to see actual not that I don't have a hate for these Instagram famous people or anything like that. You know, God bless them. But I mean, I like to see actual champions making the most of their popularity and their fan base like they should. You know, otherwise some 22-year-old kid with spiky hair and abs is just going to get that business instead of you, you know? I like
Right,
to
right.
see the Olympia guys, the Arnold Classic guys, the top guys. I hate to use the word cash in, but at least, you know, make the most of their popularity. And there's a market out there. People want to support you if you just come out with products, which you're finding out. So hopefully everyone out there in the similar situations listen. That's it, man. Well, that is all I had for you. I know you're deep in prep. Where as we speak, where this won't be out for a few days, but is today 11 weeks out exactly?
We're 11 weeks out right now. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Is your judging and finals both on Saturday? Do you know, or is it Friday, Saturday?
I believe my judging and finals. I believe it's all on Friday. I think I'll be done on Friday.
And do they weigh you in on Tuesday? No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be nice?
freaking great. That'd be freaking phenomenal.
You'd be 240 by the time you get on that stage.
I know, I know.
Imagine that. No, I think the longest I've seen between weigh-ins and a show was like 3 days at one point they were doing it.
Oh yeah.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Come on now, 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit excessive.
Yeah, that's when we were seeing 230-pound 212 guys. Yeah. Some of them from your neck of the woods, I believe. But anyway, Kevin, people are a lot heavier than 212. I don't think he was. He's got his bones are like his wrists are like that big, Kevin English.
Yeah.
He carries a lot of muscle on a very light boned frame. So,
I just saw Kevin at the gym today. Actually, I'm gonna ask him next time I see him. I'm asking what did he weigh? Post weigh in, see what he says.
I got to get him on a Ronline because I think people forgot about him, and he was the OG.
You
Was
should definitely get him on there. You definitely get him on there. And you know what? And I want to give a big shout out to Kevin English because he's been super supportive. And like for him, being multiple. When he won, was it 212 or was it 202? It was 202 at that time.
Yeah, I think he kept winning until I think he only started losing after it turned to 212. I believe.
Okay.
I think that's when Flex started beating him finally.
When all right, well, something, but for him being a multiple, Olympia champion, in that division, and for him to, volunteer, advice and just be very supportive, like means the world to me. I told him that I remember like when I think it was either 2012 or 2013. I remember I was at the New York Pro just watching in the audience, and it was him versus Jose Raymond and Samuel Haddad. He won that year. It was either 2012 or 2013. It might have been 2012. And thinking back at that, and now that same guy is being supportive of me and helping me and everything like that is it's just like it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate.
Yeah, I like to see that too because there are not a lot, but sometimes you see the guys when they retire. I don't know if they get bitter or they just don't want to have anything to do with the current guys. They don't want to follow the sport. They don't want to talk to. They don't want to know you. They're done. They're moved on and they're doing something else in life. But it's cool. Kevin's always. I've seen him like that with a lot of people. He's very supportive of all the current competitors, even like young guys who are trying to start out. And he gives a lot of positivity and encouragement. And he's still out of Bev and Steve's, right?
Still out there. Yep, I saw him. Yeah, I usually see him during the weekend, and everything. But yeah, he's still out there, still killing it as always.
Someday that'll be you. Someday you'll be helping out the young guys coming up.
Hey, you know what? And you're absolutely right, Ron. Because I'm fully aware that that your competitive years has a shelf life. Nobody can compete forever. And when it's my time to step down from competing, I'll be more than happy to lend advice and help out the next up and comers. Because I think that we all being so involved in the sport, I think we have a duty and a responsibility to do that. That's how we keep the sport that gave us a platform. That's how we do it justice. That's how we give back. It's about giving back.
Yeah, paying you pay it forward. Is that what they say, right? Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Well, you probably need to get to another meal or something. I'm sure it's eat time. So thank you so much for taking the time, George. Wishing you the very best of luck. And guys, remember, there's a 4-part series running in the magazine, written not by me, but by his actual coach, Justin Miller. Some great stuff there. It's stuff I read this stuff and I'm like, wow, there's all these anecdotes and stories and insights that nobody would have been able to get except for Justin. So he's doing a hell of a job, and I'm glad it all came together that way. It's a great series. Road to the Olympia, George Peterson. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching Ronline Report with this man, George the Bull Peterson III. You'll see him on stage at the Olympia. And that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.